Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, after last night's excruciating loss to the Philadelphia 76ers, a painful, controversial loss. Julius Randle, he endeared himself to New York Knicks fans last night. And listen, Kev, Devon, Nate, I hope is that last night's game, the energy that flowed from the end of last night's game boils over into tonight's game and pushes us through to the rest of the season. The Knicks will try to get back to 500, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to try to get back to above 500. My bad, they're at 500. They're going to try to get back to above 500. Stake their claim as a potential powerhouse in the Eastern Conference. This is what they can do with their upcoming schedule. They can win tonight. They can put together a few more wins. They can let people know, we're an up-and-coming. I'm not saying powerhouse yet. I'm saying up-and-coming powerhouse. They can do that, ladies and gentlemen. The New York Knicks versus the Philadelphia 76ers tonight from Philadelphia. Let's go ahead and get this thing popping, talk about tonight's game. And I know, people still got some feelings from last night's game. So if you want to get that off your chest, I get it. I get it. What's going on with you fellas? How you feeling?
Hey, feeling great, man. Feeling great. Brooklyn was Brooklyn. We're done with it. We've said our piece. Yes, we're still upset, but we've said our piece. Mm-hmm. Let's get on to Philly, man. Let's get on to Philly. I don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind. And in this game, I don't mind Quickley starting this time because Quickley can sick Steph Curry. But I know we'll get into that and everything. But let's just get on to it.
Let's get to it. Devon, what's going on with you, brother?
What up, Sam? Everything good? Salute to the panel, the chat, man. Another NBK episode. I'm still feeling good. I'm not disappointed about last night, but you know what? We're going to go down to the city of brotherly love tonight, and whether they show us love or not, we're going to go in there and do our thing, hopefully, and compete tonight, man. So I'm excited about the game tonight, just like I was last night. But like you said, man, I'm happy with the Knicks right now, man. I can't be not be more happy with the way our team played and the way they are playing, without the key players. Just imagine a Derrick Rose and an Alpha Payton in that game last night could have been a whole different story. So, let's go down to Philadelphia. Let's get this thing popping.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Nate, what's good with you, bro?
Yeah, salute to the chat, salute to the panel. Kudos to the Knicks for making it a game last night. I'll be honest with you, I turned it off when they got up by 20. I mean, I just saw nothing from the Knicks that made me think that they were gonna even have a chance in that game. So I saw I didn't really see the call by Randle on the travel. I know that he got really upset about it, but I really didn't see the play. I'm not really sure. I don't have an opinion on that.
Nate, you're lucky because it took the whole team to hold him back. The whole team.
Oh, I know. I get it. He was pissed, and it's good to see that fight, from one of our best players. But, the next important game is the next one. So, Philadelphia is not going to be easy. Simmons is back, and they've got players that can play. And the Knicks, got to just regroup and get at it. Simple as that.
Yeah. And, the referee last night did give an explanation of why he called a travel on Julius Randle. It's probably an explanation that most people are not going to fully understand. Not to say that you can't understand it, but this is what he said. The question, could you clarify the traveling call against Julius Randle with 3.2 seconds remaining? Foster, that's the referee, he said, the defender was deemed to touch the ball, but not cause it to be dislodged or loose. Upon that, when the player alights, he cannot purposely drop the ball or dribble the ball or be first to touch after he dropped the ball. The next question. The defender can touch the ball, but it can be ruled that he actually didn't knock the ball out of his hand. Foster, that's correct. Basically, prior to Julius Randle alighting, the ball was touched. he alighted, and he alighted, and he can pass or shoot, but he cannot purposely drop the ball and be the first to touch nor dribble the ball. Last question. At the end of the game, did you hear him approach you or the other officials at all? Foster said, I saw him approach, but all three officials went to center court to allow the players to clear the floor. Nobody heard him say anything. So I'll tell you what, he's very lucky that players held Julius Randle back because he was about to alight that ass up. I can tell you that. So he's very, very lucky because he was going to alight him up real bad.
So was it a travel?
Yeah, you're the coach. You're the coach, Sam. If you're the coach, what are you saying?
Listen, if I'm Tom Thibodeau, it's a travel. If I'm Steve Nash, if I'm Tom Thibodeau, it's not a travel. It's a jump ball. If I'm Steve Nash, it's a travel. It's one of those calls. It is a tough call because he goes up in the air. Does Kyrie Irving have his hand on the ball long enough to say it's a jump ball? Does it really dislodge from Julius Randle's hands where he does not have control? That's the question that a referee has to make the determination about. Like I said, if I'm Tom Thibodeau, that's a jump ball. If I'm Steve Nash, that's a travel. It's hard to say. And maybe what Julius Randle should have done, Josh pointed it out last night, maybe Julius Randle, once he felt Kyrie Irving hit the ball, maybe he should have just let his hands go, right? And it would have looked like Kyrie knocked it or dislodged it out of his hands. But then you take the chance that Kyrie Irving takes the ball, right? You know what I'm saying? Because, so it's hard to say what
was
it was.
Was that a challengeable call?
It would have been, but he already used his challenge. Tom Thibodeau already used the challenge.
Oh, dang.
Right.
Man.
He used the challenge.
They got to make at least 2 challenges.
He used the challenge like the play before. I'm a Knicks fan, so I'm going to say it was not a travel. It's a jump ball. At the very least, though, the referee should have been able to say, let me look at it. The referee can make that decision. At the very least, the referee should have looked at it. There are a couple calls last night that the referees really should have taken a look at. The one time, whoever it was, shot the 3, the ball, Harris or whoever, I don't know, whoever it was, shot the 3. The ball went out of bounds. The referee said that Reggie Bullock blocked it or tipped it and it went out of bounds, but he didn't. He just shot an air ball. They showed the replay. The Nets get the ball back. They score 2 points. Little things like that change games, man. Little calls like that. Several calls. They called a foul on Frank Ntilikina when Kyrie Irving stepped on Frank Ntilikina's foot. They called a foul on Frank Ntilikina.
Poor Frank, man. He can't get out of his own way.
James Harden dribbles to the basket, fumbles the ball, and travels. No call. Gets the pass off. I don't remember if they scored or not off of that play. A lot of bad calls last night by the referees. I didn't get a chance to see if there was a 2-minute report on this game.
Myself.
But
I thought you were reading that from the 2-minute report.
That was just Scott Foster's explanation.
Oh,
Scott Foster's explanation. So, hard to say, but last night is over. We're on to a new game, and we got to play another tough team. Another team that has an injury to an MVP type player. And of course, KD was out last night. Joel Embiid is going to be out tonight. So it's going to be, it's not going to be easy. Still, it's going to be a tough game. When you talk about the Knicks, as far as I know right now, the Knicks still have the same injuries as last night. Austin Rivers is out due to personal reasons. Derrick Rose is still out due to COVID-19 protocol. Elfrid Payton is day-to-day. I'm pretty sure he'll look to see if he can go tonight. I think it's doubtful that he does go tonight. And then, of course, Mitchell Robinson remains out, with a hand injury. So we're still down 3 rotation players. going into this game versus Philadelphia. With Philadelphia, Joel Embiid, he's out with a hyperextended knee. It's going to be an interesting game. Interesting game, to say the least, ladies and gentlemen. All right. And, you know, I know we're getting some background noise from somewhere. Divine, what's your take on tonight's game?
Yeah. And real quick, just on before I go into that, you know what I would like to see Julius Randle do? Just apologize to Scott Foster for this reason. For the other refs in the league, don't start picking on him with stupid calls. Say, you know, Scott Foster, you know, I got a little emotional. I didn't mean to come after you like that. Just to do, you got to kind of game, no game type thing. Just say, okay, because I got a feeling with that outburst, I'm scared that the way he went after with that angry energy, that might backfire on him in a tough situation. So I think he should have played mind games with the referee. They're like, you know what, I just was emotionally blah, 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 whatever. And just, you know, throw that out there. And it might kind of ease things for him going forward. And hopefully that don't backfire on him. But I like the passion anyway. But tonight, Sim, yeah, we just got to go in there and do what we did last night, man, and just go battle. You know what I mean? Like I said, Tony Bradley, they start in center, Tobias Harris, Danny Green, you know, and Ben Simmons and them. We just got to go in there and do what we did last night and try not to let that defense get off course in the first half like they did last night. I think we play that same game we did last night. Instead of giving up 67 points in that first half, maybe try to give up 50, 55. I think we got a good shot to win that game. But I'm hoping that energy is going to carry over, because I don't think that was a letdown game by no means with the Knicks players last night. So I think they probably like, you know what, man, we should have beat them, dude. And I know they believe it in their heart. They should have won that game from a couple of missed shots. So let's hope that when they go in there tonight, you know, guard that three-point perimeter, man. Don't let Curry and Tobias Harris them get off. And, you know, just man up, and hopefully we can come out there with a win. I'm excited about it. I think we definitely got a good chance. I don't think they're going to show us no love in the city, brotherly love tonight, because they're going to want to win too. But let's see what happens.
Right. And, you know, just going back to what you were saying about Julius Randle, that was brewing, what we saw from Julius Randle last night. I really do believe that was brewing.
Yep.
I talked about it a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of shows ago, you know, that we're starting to see Julius Randle pick up some techs. You seen the San Antonio, he knocked the dude out of bounds, right, on a fast break, banged him with his shoulder, knocked him out of bounds. I think Julius Randle was starting to get frustrated a little bit with, you know, getting hit when he goes in and not getting a call. Because clearly, you know, this is the most that Julius Randle has ever touched the ball in his life. You know, and being that primary guy, the focal point of the team. And so he's getting a lot of touches going inside, and he gets banged around. He gets banged up. And because of his style of play, it's almost like a Carmelo Anthony. Melo's style of play was, he was physical. He created contact. So the rest weren't calling the foul. Julius Randle does a lot of that same thing. He creates a lot of contact. And so I don't think the refs always call the foul when he feels like he's getting fouled, and you see him getting more and more frustrated. And I think last night was a culmination of not just that one call. Obviously, he's passionate about that play and that call, but I think he's seen a culmination brewing over the last few games even before the All-Star break. You've seen it coming. You've seen it brewing. And it's something he's going to have to learn, to deal with at this point, because he's that focal point. He's the focal guy. So, he's going to get hit more. He's going to get banged around. He's going to get double and triple teamed and feel like he's getting pushed all around. It's going to feel like that for him. He's going to have to get used to it. I still love the temperament, though. I don't care. I love the temperament.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? You love the passion. You love the temperament, because that kind of passion is going to, everyone else like, damn, okay. We don't want them to get out of, we don't want the entire team to get out of pocket, but we want them to start, we want that same passion brewing, and it can boil over to some other people where it's buried inside, but it hasn't really come out yet. We don't want it to come out in a negative way. We want it to come out in a positive way, constructive way, right? But, that's good to see from your leader. If he's the leader of the team, that's good to see from your leader, that passion.
Yes, sir.
But I do think it's been brewing for a little while in Julius Randle. But in Philadelphia, man, what I am afraid of is that we have an emotional letdown. I'm afraid of that. After last night's game, and a game with high emotions, I am afraid that you have a little bit of an emotional letdown. You know what I mean? That's natural. They're gonna have to fight against nature in order not to have that emotional letdown, in my opinion. And it's not gonna be easy. It's gonna be tough, but they can do it. I think Tibbs can keep him there. Nate, how you feel about tonight's game?
Just real quick on Julius Randle. I feel like he draws some of the frustration himself because, like, when I was watching the game yesterday, he's under the basket, and let's be honest, the guy really doesn't jump. He's not tall, and he's got DeAndre Jordan, like, just ready to block the shot or get a jump ball. I mean, the dude's got to kick it out. I mean, I understand he's trying to get the and one or try to get the call, but realistically, he's a short guy. He's not going to get the call a lot of times. Hell, Zion doesn't even get the call, and he's a bigger dude because he's short. He's just got to know to kick that ball out, and reset the offense. I feel like some of that frustration is being drawn by himself. He needs to be smarter with that and understand that, hey, I'm only 6'8", and there's a 7-foot guy that's going to try to block me every time. I need to kick it out to somebody else or reset the offense instead of trying to get the call and then turning it over and going the other way. That's just my 2 cents on Julius Randle. I mean, I still think that, yeah, he doesn't get a lot of calls, but I think he draws some frustration himself, by the way he kind of tries to fight every tooth and nail to get that basket when he probably should just kick it out or something.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I think it depends on the situation. Sometimes it's hard to kick it out. Once you get in there, you're in the motion of, you throw that pump fake and you get the guy in the air, you're in the motion of going up. Sure. It's hard to see now, okay, who do I get it out to? So it's hard. It's hard. Sometimes he can kick it out a little bit more. Sometimes, you just got to go ahead and try to finish through that play.
But he has to understand he's not tall. He's not tall, and he's not going to get the call a lot of times because all they're going to do is just block the shot, But
I don't think he complains about when he gets blocked. I think he complains about when he's getting hit on the arms. Sometimes he's going up. He's got a strong hand on the ball. He's going up, and it's like, bang, they're hitting him right here on his forearm sometimes. And I think he gets frustrated on that.
I get it. Yeah, no doubt. As far as tonight, I'll be honest with you, man. I really don't know what Sixer team's going to show up tonight. I mean, they're so herky-jerky, even with Embiid at times. Without Embiid, they whooped the crap out of the Spurs, and the Spurs beat us. It beat them by 30 points or something like that. So, they can score. Mm-hmm. It's going to come down to, again, the Knicks play. Huh?
No, I said, yeah, he can score.
What were you saying? Oh, yeah. It's going to come down to the Knicks again playing defense, man. I'll be honest with you, our defense was terrible. I didn't watch the fourth quarter. I guess we got back into the fourth quarter with our defense. But early on, the defense was terrible. Pick and roll was horrible. We were allowing penetration left and right to the basket with no resistance. We got to pick up the defense. We got to play early on. Allowing 70 points, most of the time, you're not going to win a game if you allow 70 points at halftime or 60 points at halftime. It's just not going to happen that way.
You got a point there. I said you got a point there. Obviously, they're a super tough team to guard. And when you're playing against a team like that, you are naturally going to have to make adjustments when you're playing against a team that's so fluent offensively. You're not going to come right in and shut them down unless they're just off. You're not going to come right in and shut them down, and you got to make adjustments. They did a good job making the adjustments in the second half. They went small, and I think that adjustment right there in and of itself made a very, very big difference. And they didn't go small with Obi in the second half. They went small with Julius Randle, Alec Burks, Reggie Bullock, Frank Ntilikina, R.J. Barrett. Julius Randle was the tallest guy on the floor at 6'8", but it was effective against Brooklyn. I don't know if it's going to be effective against Philadelphia tonight.
Well, Brooklyn likes to put shooters on the Brooklyn likes to put shooters on the court. So, I could see the Sixers again, with Harris and Curry and Green. You know, those three dudes can score. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Simmons is obviously not going to shoot. So, I mean, you've got three guys that can shoot, and then you've got two other guys that probably aren't going to shoot. So I don't think they have as many shooters as Brooklyn does. So I think the Knicks can afford to maybe take some gambles on some bad shooters. But I mean, again, it's just going to come down to the defense, man. The defense has got to be on point. I mean, to win. I mean, it's a good team.
When you look at the lineups tonight, Emmanuel Quickley, as long as Elfrid Payton is not going, he'll probably get the start tonight. Tom Thibodeau likes to kind of stick to his guns, so I don't see him, playing around, say, okay, we're going to start Frank tonight. No, it's a back-to-back. He'll probably start Emmanuel Quickley tonight if Elfrid Payton is not going. And maybe even if Elfrid Payton is going, just for some consistency. Right? But the Knicks should start tonight. The Knicks should start out with Emmanuel Quickley, Reggie Bullock, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, Nerlens Noel. The 76ers with Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Danny Green, Tobias Harris, and Tony Bradley. Now, when you look at the matchups here, I think Emmanuel Quickley will probably guard Seth Curry. Reggie Bullock and RJ Barrett, they'll guard Danny Green and Tobias Harris. However, Tom Thibodeau decides to split that up. And I think Julius Randle will guard Ben Simmons. And then, of course, Nerlens Noel will guard Tony Bradley. Right? I think that's the only way you're really going to match up size-wise. And that'd be the smartest thing to do for the Knicks. Right? Julius Randle can handle Ben Simmons as far as, if Ben Simmons tries to post up. You don't have to worry about Ben Simmons shooting from the outside. You do have to worry about him trying to go off the dribble, but Julius Randle has proven that he can handle and play defense on guys that can, dance out, try to put Julius Randle on an island. He's been able to play good defense. So I see Julius Randle guarding Ben Simmons tonight. That's what I would do. And then letting everybody else match up. Now, when you look at this, when you look at these two starting lineups, and of course there's bench players, but when you look at these two starting lineups, Tobias Harris is playing really well. Danny Green can shoot the three. Seth Curry can shoot the three. But it's not a bad matchup without Joel Embiid in there. It's not a bad matchup when you look at this lineup. Now, which team plays better collectively together? That's another thing. But individually, it's not a bad matchup when you look at who you see out there on the floor for each team. So I do feel encouraged about tonight. I'd love for the Knicks to walk away with this win. When you take a look at the numbers behind the game, Philadelphia, they average 116 points per game. Another team averaging, coming in averaging 116. And, we got to deal with these guys. Obviously, Joel Embiid is not there, an MVP caliber player. He normally averages 30 points a game. That 30 points is not going to be there tonight. The Knicks average 105.3. They've been scoring a little better lately. All right, both teams average 46 rebounds a game. Philadelphia averages 23.8 assists, while the Knicks average 21 assists. Philadelphia about 9 steals per game, while the Knicks are at about 7. 6.3 blocks for Philadelphia. For the Knicks, 4.7. Of course, Joel Embiid, he leads them in blocks at 1.39 blocks per game. He's not playing tonight. Okay, so that's going to take down some of their paint protection. They're also going to take down some of their rebounds. Obviously, they got some other guys that can come in and rebound the basketball. They'll do gang rebounding and all of that. Joel Embiid normally averages 11.5 rebounds per game. But there'll be some other guys that fill in for Joel Embiid and rebounding the basketball. All right. They average about 14.7 turnovers per game. The Knicks average about 12.9. I would think they're going to have less turnovers because Joel Embiid does average a good number of those turnovers. The ball will be in Ben Simmons' hands more. You won't be relying on Joel Embiid. Not that he's not a good passer, but you won't be relying on Joel Embiid to have to pass it out and do all those things. The game is going to change a little bit. I would think that they might keep those turnovers down a little less than 14 tonight. Philadelphia shoots 48% from the field. The Knicks shoot 45.4% from the field. The Knicks shoot 37% from three. Philadelphia shoots 37% from three. And they both take about the same number of attempts. They both take about 29 threes per game. Both teams about 78% from the free throw line. Philadelphia. They averaged 49 points in the paint. The Knicks are at 46. We'll see how that changes tonight with Joel Embiid out. Second chance points, Philadelphia's averaging 14. The Knicks are averaging 13.5. And, of course, Philadelphia's averaging 16.6 fast break points per game. The Knicks are averaging 7.7. And I don't see that fast break number changing much unless the Knicks defensively can hold them down. Brooklyn, they came into last night's game averaging about 16 fast break points per game. And the Knicks held them to 4 fast break points. Right? And a lot of that is because the Knicks take care of the ball on the offensive side. The Knicks only had 8 turnovers last night. We'll need to do the same thing tonight. We've got to take care of the basketball. Don't let them get out. Don't let Ben Simmons get out and run with Tobias Harris and them guys. All right? You can't let that happen. If that happens tonight, we're going to be in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Where's my man Kev? What's Kev doing, man? All we see is a big cheese on the screen. You know what I mean? I don't know where he's at, what he's doing. Big cheese on the screen. But what matchups do you look at for tonight, Divine, as far as who's going to defend who? You know, do you agree with the matchups that I laid out?
Absolutely.
Or would you go a little different?
I agree with the ones you laid out, and I really think they should put Quickley on Steph, whatever, Steph Curry, I guess. And I think that the Julius Randle and Ben Simmons will be interesting. And I think you put Bullock on Tobias Harris, you know what I mean? And let RJ deal with Danny Green. We got a good chance in that game tonight, man. I think the matchups work pretty well for me. I think all depends what Shake Melton and all them guys do coming off the bench. Before the matchup, I like what you put out there, and I really do think that we do got a good chance to go in there and compete with them guys, man. 'Cause like not having Embiid in there is a big plus for us. You know what I mean? And that's just 30 points you might not have to worry about getting schooled with. But I do like the matchups, and I think we do got a good chance to do that. If our bench, my main concern is our bench going to be able to step up after a rough game last night? Because, you know, you're going to have some tired legs out there, you know what I mean, going into the second half of the game. All that energy we put out there last night is going to start catching up to us. So we got to hope Obi can come in there, and Frank going to not start, but he's going to be in the second unit. But they got to come in there and give us and Alex Burton got to give us some punch, man. If not, it's going to be a different story.
Yeah. And this coming off the bench, Shake Milton is a guy that I worry about. Okay, Shake Milton can ball. He's a good ball player. He
and
can
Maxey.
You know, Tyrese Maxey as well. Tyrese Maxey is having a good rookie season. You know, I worry about them guys. Excuse me. Of course, Dwight Howard is another big guy coming off the bench. You know, so you got Tony Bradley, and then you're coming off the bench with Dwight Howard. You got some big guys that you got to deal with down there. They're not Joel Embiid, but you got some big, strong guys that you got to deal with as well. Cork Maz, you know, he can light it up from 3 if he gets hot. Of course, we got to watch out for Seth Curry. He's shooting 43.6% from 3. Danny Green is shooting 38% from 3. Tobias Harris is shooting 40% from 3. Okay, these guys can knock down the 3. And if we let them get loose from the 3-point line,
it's going to be a long night.
Game over.
It could be a tough night. It could be a tough night. Even Dwight Howard is shooting 31% from 3.
Oh, wow. Out of how many attempts?
I don't know.
Hey, Sim, you know what? Out of all the players that we have, the only player that I'm worried about is Obi. The reason why I say that is, like in last night's game, we were only down maybe, I think, like 3 or 4 points going into the second quarter. Once that bench came in, along with Obi, they expanded that big time. Well, and what I was saying earlier today on Freeze's broadcast was, against a team like the Nets with their firepower offensively, you don't want to get too far into the hole with these guys, because even if you do come back, they still have enough weapons that can win the game. So you want to stay like 5 points and below against a team like that. And that's the same thing with, with right here. So going back to Obi just doesn't, I don't think he looks comfortable. He has no confidence. He doesn't look comfortable. He looks lost out there. And Sim, I know I disagree with you on, on a few things. But I gotta agree with you on this. He does not look like a player that's polished.
He's definitely not a player that's polished.
Right. But here's the thing. Just real quick, just to make the comparison. When a Knox draft, we had a choice between Knox and Mikal Bridges. I think Mikal Bridges was he a senior when he came out?
Yeah, the Villanova, I think so.
Was he? I don't know, junior or senior?
Yeah, he was a junior, I think.
He was a junior. He was a junior, and we were deciding back and forth who was going to be better at that. So we picked Knox, and I think the argument. Well, there's no argument. It seems like he's having a better career than what Knox is having. He looked more polished, so that's why I thought that that Obi would be that, and he's not.
Well, his first year wasn't stellar when you talk about Mikal Bridges, right? So his second year is he started to come on. Maybe towards the end of the first year he started to come on. So we'll see what happens with Obi. The difference between Mikal Bridges and Obi is Mikal Bridges still had the footwork. He had something that he does that you knew could translate to the NBA. Play Obi defense and shoot the three.
Yeah.
And he's got footwork, defensive footwork and offensive footwork to get things done. Right? So those things could translate to the NBA. With Obi,
all he does is dunk.
Let me say this though. The one thing that Nate said is, Obi doesn't fit with this team. I kind of disagree. I think that his skill set does fit with the team.
How so?
Right? Having a guy that in that second unit that you can lob to, right?
Yeah, that's all you're doing with him. You're just lobbing or getting him dunks.
Right. But they're not doing that right now. But that's okay though, because it's good to have those guys on the team. You got an all-star power forward that can create shots, right? You don't need to have the same exact thing coming in every time you step on the floor. Then your offense really does get redundant. The idea of having Obi out there is that you put him out there and you have Derrick Rose or Emmanuel Quickley or whoever is out there with him. He can change the way it looks because he can get up vertically. Right? So he does something different than Randle, but he can change the way the offense looks. If you have the same type of guys coming on the floor from your bench, you have certain guys in your starting lineup, and then you come back and you have a power forward that's just like Julius Randle, well, guess what? The team knows what you're going to do because you got the same exact player on the floor. They don't have to change up anything. So it's nice to have that switch up or change up. We just don't use him, and he's not effective right now.
But to go back to what you just said about footwork and everything, do we know he didn't have footwork when he first when we were first scouting him?
I did, so I would think that they did.
Okay.
I did, and I think a lot of people on this that when Legion was when we were breaking down players, I think he did. So I think they probably, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe
is that something that can be learned at this stage?
It is. You can work on it. I don't think you're ever going to see him with advanced footwork. Or maybe when he gets older, he does have more advanced footwork, right? But when he gets older and his footwork does get a little bit more advanced, then you start slowing down some. So who knows? We'll see.
So he won't be a Kwame Brown, right?
The one thing
I don't know if he's going to be a Kwame Brown. I don't know yet. Don't quote me with anything.
The one thing with Obi that he really needs to work on is his shot, because I think that's the one thing that he can help us out a lot off the bench is his shot. Like, he airballed a 3-pointer.
That was,
but if you watch him in practice, he's got a good form and he makes a lot of shots.
Yeah, practice is practice. Mitchell Robinson is knocking down threes in practice too.
Sure, but what I'm saying is he's not shooting up bricks all the time. I mean, the guy's got a good form and makes a lot of buckets. So, I mean, it's a confidence thing. He's not confident right now.
I mean, I get that, but, you know, when you got to knock him down in the game. You can knock him down in practice all day long.
I agree. I agree.
You got to knock him down in the game.
If he can bring that aspect to the Knicks, that is the one thing that we desperately need is another shooter, especially a big man who can bring the defense out to the 3-point line. And Obi can do that. Obi can shoot the three. He just has to be more consistent. You know, they got to work with him on that.
He can shoot
shot.
He can shoot it, but can he make it? That's the question.
And the other thing also,
but Kev, you know, you brought up about the bench, right?
Yeah.
I think tonight we're going to see again. I think we're going to see Tom Thibodeau understand that he's got to keep R.J. Barrett or Julius Randle on the floor or Emmanuel Quickley.
Yes.
Two of those guys, I think. Either Emmanuel Quickley and R.J. Barrett and Julius Randle, or Emmanuel Quickley and Julius Randle. Two of those guys always got to be on the floor, in my opinion.
I totally agree with you with that aspect. I mean, you look at duos pretty much. Look at Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan. They would both start the game, but each time either Scottie or Mike would be in there, with the unit.
Look at LeBron and AD. I mean, when AD's on the bench, LeBron's LeBron's in. When LeBron's on the bench, AD's in. I agree. You have to have at least one of your best players with the second team, because in case stuff hits the fan and you can't make shots, you need to have that one guy to turn to. Right.
If RJ would have, let's say, let's put RJ in with Obi and all them last night instead of a Reggie Bullock. I could see it. I don't think the deficit would have been as large as it was in that second quarter.
Yeah, I don't think so either. If two of those guys was in the game, we were down 5. I think it probably stayed around 5, to be honest with you.
And then also, I think that one of those guys would have helped out Obi as well as telling him where to be as well.
I mean, you know what? I'm gonna tell you the truth, man. I've been saying it for the last few shows. I'm ready for Obi to sit on the pine and let Kevin Knox take those minutes.
Absolutely.
Or if they're gonna go in a different direction, it may be that Obi sits on the pine and Frank Ntilikina takes those minutes.
Okay.
It's coming.
I'm ready for Obi to sit down on the pine for a little bit.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that, because as this we're in the second half right now. If we're going to make that playoff push, then you can't what's the word for it? You can't take any chances anymore. You just can't.
I'm ready for him to sit on the pine. I would not be surprised. He didn't play him in the second half. I would not be surprised if he does not play tonight and he goes with a 9-man rotation.
I wouldn't be surprised either.
Can he go down to the G League for a little bit, or is that
the G League? They don't have a G League bubble right now.
That's over.
It's over with. So now you can't go down to the G League.
That's right.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. Okay.
Those guys are now with the team.
Right, Brad Jenkins and Harper.
Yeah, Jared Harper. They're with the team. So that's
why Miles Powell's with the Bucks now, because they picked them. Okay,
right. And so now those guys, those G League guys, the 2-year, two-way players, they can play as many games with their teams as they want to. So, if they want to keep Jared Harper and Theo Pinson for the remainder of the season, they can keep him for the remainder of the season up there, which is probably what's going to happen. So you got some guys that stay on the bench,
So let's say for argument's sake, we lose all our point guards. You could put in You could put in Harper.
Yeah.
If we lose all of our point guards, then Julius Randle and R.J. Barrett's going to run the point guard by committee. That's what's going to happen. That's probably what's going to happen if you lose all of our point guards. I'm just saying. I'm being real with you. That's probably what's going to happen.
But Jared Harper can play, right?
He can play.
Okay. He can play. All right.
I think we might see a Knox sighting tonight, man. I really
might.
do. Coming off that back-to-back.
I'm thinking it's either going to be Knox or he goes with a 9-man rotation and Frank Ntilikina takes Obi's minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Now, of course, you got to look at the size difference too. With who we're playing, and does it match up to have I mean, if Frank Ntilikina takes those minutes and Obi sits, then that means that R.J. Barrett or Julius Randle is constantly going to be on the floor, right? So Julius Randle can still play the 4 or the small ball 5, and you can go small like they did last night, which this is a team that you probably can go small against, right? Because even if Julius Randle is playing at 5 and he's going up against Dwight Howard is 6'10", not really a strong guy down low. Is not really going to take you out on a perimeter. Julius Randle can defend him. So you can go a little bit smaller with this lineup. I wouldn't be surprised if Obi doesn't play tonight. He might play. You know what I'm saying? Because he was the 8th pick and he was Leon Rose guy and all of that stuff.
Well, Tibbs always talks about how he's a junkie in the practice and the weight room and all that stuff. So I think his patience is wearing thin with him. There's no doubt.
I can't wait for the discussion on, when the season is finally over and the playoffs are over for us, what we want these guys to work on and what muscle they should add, going into the offseason.
Hey, Sim, can I ask you a question? Do you think, and I think this is real key, I just can't see Knox riding that pine the whole season. Either they not playing him because they're going to save him to get moved. I just can't see them letting that boy ride that pine all the way to the end of the season.
They got to the 25th. They got to the 25th.
And that's what got me thinking that maybe they not playing him because they don't want him to get hurt. Because it's just no way that the way that guy can shoot the ball. I know he's in a situational play, but damn, the whole season? That's I don't get that, man. So I think they must be holding Kevin Knox for a trade.
Man. They don't like the defense.
Yeah, I know. But still, if you don't like his defense, you're not going to play him. I think you should just move him. If you're not going to play him, what you got him there for?
I agree.
That's what I'm saying. What you got him there for? You're not going to play him.
I think part of it is, I'm going to be honest with you, part of it is connection, right? They got Kenny Payne there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, hey, you know what? If they're not going to move him, listen, if something comes up, they're going to move him for a better player, obviously. If something that benefits the team comes up, they'll move him. If not, then I think they're probably like, hey, okay, let's work with this guy now. Give me an off season to work with him. See what happens next year. His contract is up next year. Make a decision to do what you got to do after that. You know what I mean? Let him play out his rookie contract and then go from there. I think that's what'll probably happen with Kevin Knox. I think that he should be getting minutes over Obi. I think he should be getting minutes over Obi, to be honest with you. That's just my opinion.
As funny as it sounds, he's more polished than Obi is right now.
I mean, so many times people keep saying to me, I'm having too much of a short leash with Obi. I don't feel like it.
Well, Sim, let me ask you. Do you think Knox's defense is worse than Obi's?
No, I think Knox's defense is better than Obi's.
No.
So he should get run then.
I think his defense is better than Obi's.
The ball than Obi
and Knox can shoot the ball better than Obi. At least right now. Right now, I just don't see Obi giving us anything while he's out there. Not playing him is not going to hurt us. Let's put it like this. Not playing him or not playing Kevin Knox, if you don't play either one of those guys, it's not going to hurt the team anyway. So, if you're not confident putting either one of them out there, just don't put either one of them out there.
Right.
Go with a shorter rotation.
Yeah, somebody in the chat said Knox been here 3 years and can't move Bullock for the starting job.
Because Bullock plays good defense.
I mean, hey, you know what? That's something that we've already known. Right now, we're talking about Obi and Kevin Knox.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
We're talking about that 10th spot. We know that Kevin Knox has not been able to remove Reggie Bullock from the starting spot. That's neither here nor there. We're talking about Obi and Kevin Knox and who deserves the minutes between those two. And if neither one of those two guys deserve the minutes, then don't play either one and just play the guys that deserve the minutes. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Sam, I got a question. What did you think of RJ's play last night, like the first 3 quarters? I felt like he was trying to be off balance a lot and take some weird, awkward shots, maybe trying to get a foul or something. I don't know. He just looked like he was pressing a lot.
I didn't know if he was pressing. I'm going to tell you what I did like. I liked the fact that, he wasn't accurate, but he was still able to get to the line and score from the line. You know what I'm saying? Because his shooting from the line, what was he, 10 for 10 from the line last night? His shooting from the line helped to keep us within a run of the Nets. Because and you noticed in the second half when Thibodeau said, okay, I'm going to have either Randle or RJ on the floor. When Randle was out there, he could score. When RJ, he wasn't scoring fluently, but he was getting to the line. I don't care if you score by making a bucket or you make 2 at the line. Let's get the points on the board. That's all I care about. And he did a good job.
It just seemed like he was kind of off balance
fouls
early in the game. I guess he was trying to get the foul and all that, but it just like he was going at weird, awkward angles. And I'm like, what are you doing, RJ? You know, I figured he would take it like straight to the cup or try to get the foul, but he was kind of like leaning towards or falling away. And I was just,
well, you got some guys that got some length down there. With DeAndre Jordan and Jeff Green. They got some length. And then DeAndre Jordan kind of might know a little bit of what RJ wants to do because he played with him. So, he might have been trying to, and there were some shots where he's, a little off balance. You got to remember that RJ Barrett doesn't have a lot of speed and he doesn't jump up real high. Right.
So he's got to be more crafty.
He's going to be a little bit more crafty. So some of his shots might look like he's falling away and falling down because that's the way he can get his shot off without it getting blocked.
What did you think of Quickley's first start? I wasn't on the show last night, so I'm just curious.
Listen, I thought that Quickley did some really, really good things as the starter offensively. As far as, people always saying, well, Quickley's going to spread the floor for RJ and Julius Randle, I didn't really see that happening, right? And it's like I explained before, in order for Quickley to spread the floor for those guys, he can't have the ball in his hands. Right. Somebody else has the ball in his hands, and then his shooting allows the floor to be spread open. You still saw that, the Knicks only shot 35% from the three-point line last night. And 40% from the field, or 40 to 42% from the field overall. So you still saw that the lane was clogged for Julius Randle. The lane was clogged for RJ Barrett. It's not all about Emmanuel Quickley being able to hit the shot. It's about where
he's a very ball-dominant player. He really is.
Yeah, but it's about where guys put themselves on the floor. I think that has a lot more to do. Not a lot more to do, but it has just as much to do with spacing. It's where you position yourself on the floor. But I thought he did a good job of, when he had the chance to, kicking it out to shooters. I seen him kick it out to RJ. I seen him kick it out to Reggie Bullock. He did a good job trying to be a facilitator, but also figuring out how to get his shot off. Right? He took 7 shots in the first quarter while still being a good facilitator. So he did a good job of finding, when is it my time to shoot the ball? You know what I mean? I thought he did a pretty good job last night. Defensively, he wasn't as strong defensively. And I think we all knew that. And I think we all understood that by starting Quickley, we're going to be giving up something defensively for the offensive, for what he provides offensively. I think we all understood that. I thought he did a good job. Obviously, it left the bench, bare of a scorer. But that's where you got to stagger the lineups to make up for it. But I thought he did a good job.
Let me ask you a question, Sam. If Peyton was starting, do you think we would have had as much problems with Kyrie than with anybody else that was starting against him?
Yes. Kyrie is Kyrie, man. Kyrie is good. Peyton would have, added some toughness out there on the floor. He would have put some pressure on Kyrie by going to the basket and made Kyrie have to defend him going to the basket. You wouldn't have seen, like in that first quarter, Kyrie really tried to push up and kind of intimidate Emmanuel Quickley. I thought Quickley did a really good job. Handling Kyrie trying to intimidate him. Like Kyrie was jumping up in him. One time he got a foul because he pushed him out of bounds. He was jumping up in him, trying to guard him, this and that. I thought Quickley did a really, really good job of trying to handle that. Kyrie tried to bully him, basically. Yeah. Kyrie tried to bully him, and Emmanuel Quickley did not get afraid or intimidated by Kyrie trying to bully him. So I thought that was a good job. He wouldn't have done that to Elfrid Payton, though. Yeah. Elfrid Payton might have smacked him or something. He wouldn't have did that to Elfrid Payton. By having Payton out there, of course, it would have allowed Emmanuel Quickley to come off the bench and provide that scoring punch off the bench with that second unit. I still think you got to have Randle or RJ out there, with it. But I think it would have provided a little extra toughness to the game. But yes, Kyrie would have still did the same thing. It's Kyrie.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Anybody, the best defender in the league is going to have a hard time guarding Kyrie. He was hot last night.
Kyrie schooled the rookie. That's just basically what it was.
Right. Yeah, Nate. Absolutely.
So
That's what I was afraid of. But like you said, he wasn't afraid.
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't afraid, man. Quickly wasn't afraid. He wasn't intimidated. And he did a good job handling it. And that bodes well for him and the future of the Knicks, man, because that's one of the big questions that anybody had. When you got to play up against, someone like a Kyrie, how is he going to be able to handle it? Now, of course, Kyrie's not the best defender. We'll see what happens when he plays against some tougher, more defensive-oriented guards, starting guards like that. But I feel confident. Of course, I see some times when he look a little shaky with the ball and this and that, but he's a rookie. It's going to be like that.
You can see defenses are really starting to hone in on him. Like they really are trying to confuse him or get up on him, understanding that he likes to get those quick shots off and he likes to get those easy fouls. Like you can kind of tell the defenses are really starting to scout him a little bit more.
Yeah, of course they are.
So it's going to be up to him to adjust to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also the coaching staff has to show him, like they did with RJ, where he's most efficient at as well. So that's another thing.
Yeah, and I think we're starting to see that. I think we're starting to see him be a little bit more patient, at least in the starting lineup. Be a little bit more patient instead of just looking for his shot. Figuring out what to do. And once he gets that part, then the next step has got to be his defense.
Yes.
And part of his defense,
I thought he was a good defender.
Part of his defense is the strength. He's not as strong as these players that's in the NBA because he's young. He's 21. So part of his defense is the strength, and he's just got to get stronger. So that guys like Bruce Brown don't just bowl him away, push him down the lane and score on him. Part of that is just strength. And there's really nothing. Yeah, there's really nothing he could do about that. Nothing he can do about that except get stronger in the offseason. So,
so it'll
be he's going to grow. He's going to grow and get good. I seen someone ask a question about Derrick Rose. Let me see. He said, if Rose was available, this is JD. He said, if Rose was available, we would have had some easier perimeter looks. Maybe so. We might have had some easier perimeter looks if Rose was available. Listen, when we get our full slate of guards back, Rose, Elfrid Payton, and we got Emmanuel Quickley, and we get Mitch back, we'll finally, hopefully, get to see what the team really looks like. We had a chance to see what it looks like, for a while when, Quickley was there and Mitch was still healthy and Payton was still playing. And then Rose came in, and as soon as Rose came in, Mitch went out.
Yeah.
Right? And then Payton goes out.
Yeah.
So, there's going to be a time when everyone finally does get back and is healthy and they get a chance to play for a little while.
Gun to your head. When do you think Mitch will be back?
Next week.
Sheesh. I don't know, man.
Next week?
I think next week.
Because I saw the brace off, and it showed a picture of him, with the ball and everything, and he was, he was shooting. So,
but he's got to get into shape and all that too.
Right. So last night, Cooking with Chef Zay said that he read that Mitchell Robinson was doing some physical contact. Actually, you read wrong, Cooking with Chef Zay, and you wonder why somebody's always coming at you, bro. I read the article last night, and it said he has yet to take any physical contact. He has yet to take any physical contact. He has not taken any physical contact yet, and they hope that he will soon.
That boy should let alone read a recipe, read an article.
Only Chef Zay. Only Chef Zay. Now, if there's another article out there, I don't know, but that's the article that I read.
Oh, it's too funny.
Only Chef Zay. But look, man, against this team here, what I want the Knicks to do is I want the Knicks to try to make Ben Simmons out. Obviously, when Ben Simmons is out on the perimeter, similar to what they did with Giannis, if Julius Randle is guarding Ben Simmons, I want to see Julius Randle step back off of Ben Simmons. right? Make him shoot the three. Now he's shooting 28% from the three. Force him to shoot the three a little bit. All right, instead of, because if you play up tight, now you allow him to be able to penetrate a little bit and create for others. Okay, he's not going to have that low post presence to dump the ball down to. So a lot more responsibility is going to be on Ben Simmons, in his hands. Force him to shoot that three. Force him to make a decision by dropping back off of him. I'm pretty sure he's used to it by now. All right. Guys like Reggie Bullock, the same way Reggie Bullock, listen, James Harden is James Harden. He's going to play ball. But whoever Reggie Bullock is guarding, the same way he was guarding James Harden, he's got to do the same thing. He's guarding Tobias Harris. I want to see him put some clamps on Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris is having a good season. Right? I want to see him D up Tobias Harris. That guy's going to run around screens. He's going to move without the basketball. We need Reggie Bullock to be right there.
Yeah, that was like last night with what's his name? Who was in that starting lineup for Brooklyn? You had Kyrie,
Jeff Green,
Jeff Green. Players like that, you got. They're still in the league for a reason, and still very what's the word?
Jeff Green can play, bro.
Let's not get too carried away with Jeff Green. I'm going to say it again. Like I said last night, Jeff Green was a byproduct of Kyrie Irving and James Harden. He was a byproduct of those guys. He wasn't catching the ball in the mid-post and creating a bunch of shots. He was getting his shots because of the screening role. He was a byproduct of those guys.
But he can still play it.
He can still play it,
Listen, no, I'm not saying. I really do like Jeff Green. He's from the local area too, where I live. He's a local guy. But I like Jeff Green. I like the way he balls. I like his game. But it's not like he was going out and just creating every shot. It was a byproduct of the fear of James Harden and Kyrie Irving. Because when James Harden or Kyrie Irving come off that screen, I don't care who's setting the screen. When he comes off that screen, they put so much pressure on the defense. Your big man has no choice but to help out. You got to help out. You got to. Because if not, they're going to kill you. They're going to score. So your big man helps out, and now you got that roller that's able to come free. Right? And you got to have help from the opposite defender, whoever's defending the wing or whatever, come over and help out to stop that roller, and then be able to get back to that guy. Jeff Green was a byproduct of James Harden and Kyrie Irving.
But he still got off, He had 14 points?
I mean, but the thing is, if Jeff Green didn't get off, let's say Julius Randle said, I'm not going to help. I'm staying with Jeff Green. Guess who else would have got off?
Yeah.
It would have been James Harden. It would have been James Harden or Kyrie Irving who scored the point, who scored it in the paint. You know what I'm saying? And those guys are more efficient than a Jeff Green. So you say, you know what? We'll see if Jeff Green. We're gonna take it out their hands and see if Jeff Green can knock down some of them shots.
So you're saying we should
some of them shots.
So you're saying we should take our chances with Jeff Green?
Who do you want?
I mean, that's thinking right. Okay.
Who would you rather have shoot the ball?
Jeff Green.
Yeah, it was him. Yeah,
Jeff Green. Yeah. And if he's hot, it might be something you got to live with. If he's not hot,
so for tonight's game, you don't. I mean, it's obvious Ben Simmons is gonna get his. You don't want like your Danny Greens or your
So, see, for tonight's game is going to be different because there's not this huge focal point on the offensive side in Joel Embiid. So we're going to play a team that's going to do a lot of man movement, a lot of ball movement, a lot of cutting, and a lot of slashing because they don't have that Joel Embiid, which is one of the reasons why I fear this game because normally they would dump it down, not all the time, but they would dump it down to Joel Embiid, let Joel Embiid score or pass it out at the post, swing the basketball, or maybe he hits a couple guys cutting to the basket. Now it's going to be more man movement, more ball movement, and we're going to have to be on point. We're going to have to be on point. You know what I'm saying? Making 2 and 3 defensive stops in one possession. You know what I'm saying? We can't get complacent with, okay, we made this rotation. We got to make 2, 3, 4, 5 rotations sometimes playing against this team, I think, because they got shooters and they're going to be moving that basketball. They're going to be moving they're going to be moving their men. They're going to be cutting to the basket, running baseline. They're going to be doing those type of things. And we can't let them get out in transition.
That's the key right there.
And the scary thing is you don't know who's going to get hot.
Yeah, that transition, Sim hit that right on the money. Ben Simmons in the open court is ridiculous. So
Yeah.
you got to definitely slow that transition down. And I think that's mandatory that we do that, man.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We can't let Ben Simmons get out there and transition because, he's going to get the ball. He's going to get the ball to some of those guys out there that can knock down threes. And they're not going to have a bunch of guys just straight up run into the basket in transition. They're going to be running to that three-point line. Seth Curry, Tobias Harris. Guys running to the three-point line. Danny Green. Right? They run into the three-point line. If they get hot, wop. All of a sudden, we're looking at a 17-point deficit.
Yeah,
and, we don't want that.
They said we got an enigma. What do you think about this enigma to me? An enigma is Alex Burks.
Yeah.
Man, if this kid, man, that is, you know what?
Yeah.
He got game, Sim, but damn, this brother can't. He just don't come when we need him, man.
No.
I'm like, oh my goodness. Alex Burks is an enigma to me going into the trading deadline.
Out of those threes that we missed last night, he has the higher percentage to make those threes, and he didn't.
Yeah. Alec Burks, man, he's frustrating. He's frustrating. Like last night, I was hot with him last night. I was hot. I was heated. I was like, yo, this dude can't make nothing. He never makes a timely shot. Come on, man. Make a bucket. Get a bucket. Then finally, he hits a three to take it from a 9-point lead down to a 6-point lead. And I'm like, thank you. I'm screaming at the TV, hollering. But you know what? Last night, as much as it hurt with what happened with Julius Randle down, the last 5 seconds of the game, we couldn't hit the timely shot.
Right.
That's the timely shots that you're talking about.
We could not hit those timely shots. We down 5. Reggie Bullock gets an open 3-point look in the corner. Bricks it. I think Alec Burks gets an open 3-point look in the corner. Bricks it. Those timely shots that can take you from 105, from being down 5 to only down 2, and really putting pressure on the Brooklyn Nets with still 2 minutes left in the game.
Yeah.
Those type of timely shots.
I'm going to be honest with y'all. I think that as Knicks fans, we're relying way too much or believing way too much in Burks and Bullock. I mean, at the end of the day, the reason why they've been on other teams before.
Who else we got to believe in? They're on the team. That's who's on the floor.
I know.
They're the role players.
I mean, they are who they are. I mean, if they hit shots, they hit shots. If they don't hit shots, they don't hit shots. I've already accepted it. I mean, if they make a shot, great. I mean, Bullock was hot last night. That was great to see. But I mean, they're not premier leaders.
Bullock gives you something. He gives you some defense.
Yeah.
Alex Burks ain't giving us
nothing. You're right.
I'm telling you, man. That's why we should let Miles Powell go, dude. That would have been the replacement.
Because with those guys, there are times when we're up 5, right? We play good defense. We force them we force them to miss. We come down, Reggie Bullock gets an open 3. Now we're up 5 and he misses. They come back down and hit a 3, it's a 2-point game.
Yep.
So it goes from where we could have been up 8, now we're only up 2. And it happens like that so many times with both of these guys where we can extend the lead from 5 to 8 or from 8 to 11.
Yep.
We miss it. The other team comes back down. They score, and it ends up being a 5-point swing, or something like that.
That's the story.
You know what I mean? But that's what happens when you have role players that are making $5 million. That's like Nate said. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is, and we can hope that some games they're hitting, some games they're obviously there's going to be games they're not. Last night, Reggie Bullock gave us 17 points in the first half. Gave us 2 in the second half.
Not really. Him.
That's what frustrates me with the Knox situation. Knox can give you what Alex Burks gives you.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And got height. You know what I mean?
And got height. Yeah.
Oh man, Alex Burks.
The only thing about that is Alec Burks can at least though help us with ball handling duties. I don't know if you trust in Knox to help us with ball handling duties in that second unit. Although me and Andy did a coach's corner on Kevin Knox, and I'm going to tell you one of the areas that people sleep on with Kevin Knox is him being able to handle the ball in the pick and roll. People sleep on that. They sleep on that. And I know people in chat right now is going to tell me that I'm crazy. You know what I'm saying? They're going to tell me I need to smack myself in the face. They're going to say all kinds of wild stuff in the chat like they normally do. But Kevin Knox is actually pretty decent handling the ball in the screen and roll. If you go back and look at that coach's corner, I will put the video in the chat, ladies and gentlemen, if you want me to. You will see plenty of times where he found those alley-oops to Mitchell Robinson off of the screen and roll. They do a pin down to Kevin Knox in the corner. Kevin Knox comes off the pin down, right? They pass him the basketball off the pin down, or sometimes it's a handoff. They do a pin down handoff. Right, he comes off, and when he comes off that screen, Mitchell Robinson is rolling to the basket along the baseline, and he lets it up. Bomb. Plenty of times you've seen Kevin Knox find Mitchell Robinson off of that screen and roll. I think that's an area that the Knicks have not utilized with Kevin Knox, obviously because he's on the bench.
So something I just thought when y'all were talking about Kevin Knox with Tibbs, and I don't know. I mean, it could be true, it could not be true. I really feel like, same thing with Frank too. Tibbs didn't get these guys. That they weren't his guys. I mean, these were from the last regime, and Burks was. Tibbs signed off on Burks, and I just feel that he maybe just doesn't believe in Knox. I mean, he thinks he's too young, and he'd rather go with the Burks, even though Burks makes us want to pull our hair out half the time. But I just think with Tibbs, I mean, these aren't his guys. These.
Yeah, but the whole starting lineup is not his guys neither, though, Nate. Because the whole starting lineup played for the Knicks last year. The whole starting lineup. Right. But I mean, R.J. Barrett, Randle. I mean, those are guys that he's grown to like. I'm just saying, a guy like Knox at the bottom of the bench. He didn't draft the dude, and I probably guarantee you he wouldn't have drafted him. He would not have signed off on this draft on Knox because he didn't play defense when he was drafted. And you know how Tibbs loves guys who play defense.
So hold on. So you're saying he didn't, because of that, you don't think he signed off on Obi?
That one's puzzling to me, man. I mean,
Legion of Knicks has his.
That might have been Leon Rose more than Tibbs, man. I think Leon Rose pushed that more than Tibbs.
Well, Legion, has his, his thought that, Leon Rose was like, this is who I want, maybe partially because, he knew who he was and his family and all of those connection things. Mm-hmm. And he thought that Emmanuel Quickley was Tom Thibodeau's guy. Actually, Emmanuel Quickley ended up being William West, Worldwide West's guy.
Yeah, but I could see Quickley being more of a Tibbs guy than Toppin, because Toppin came in not being able to play defense, and Tibbs loves defense. I mean, that's what his calling part is.
Well, I mean, Quickley didn't come in with a defensive.
Better defender than,
he didn't come in with a defensive reputation. He didn't come in with a bad defensive reputation, but he didn't come in with a defensive reputation. He's a shooter. He's a guy that can knock down threes and.
But the ability to play defenses, I think, would really entice.
Do you remember in the draft night when they drafted Obi? Did you see Tom Thibodeau? He was the happiest dude on the planet. He threw up the two fists in the air.
Was that Leon Rose?
No, that was Tom Thibodeau.
That was Tom Thibodeau. Okay.
Yeah, and that's why Obi's still playing. You see what I'm saying? Obi is actually backing up Julius Randle the whole year. You know what I mean? Tibbs like the guy. I just don't think that. I don't think he's giving Tibbs what he wants, but. Tibbs liked the guy because he got to play a backup power forward all the time. So I don't know.
I thought they showed a picture of Leon Rose. Maybe it was Tom Thibodeau. I don't know. I thought it was
Tom
a picture.
Thibodeau at the table. Yeah, I could tell by the way Tom Thibodeau.
Right. I thought it was
ball headed up there. Check again. Maybe you might be right. I thought it was Tibbs in the draft room that night, but who knows? I thought it was Leon Rose who stood up with his hands in the air.
Okay,
it might be.
I think this coming up draft, you'll see Tibbs more hands-on on the player that we pick. Rather than I think he might have had some liking towards Obi. But remember, he was hired. There wasn't a huge amount of time to really scout all these players. Right. I think he kind of went more with Leon Rose's. Well, the guy, you've worked with him, you know his family, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Let's give it a shot. He falls to us at 8. It's a steal in any aspect.
Right.
But I think this next draft, you're going to see Tibbs' hands more on the player.
Yeah.
The player to be.
And I think it also helps that we have March Madness as well, so he'll
Sure.
be able to see a lot of the
the
players.
Yeah, I'm sure we're sending our scouts out to look at all those
absolutely.
if they can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, it wasn't like this, what it is now. It wasn't like this last year. Last year everything was shutting down. So
right. Yeah, it did made it very hard to scout last year, but tonight, man, I think to beat the Philly.
Let's just do it.
Listen, I think to beat the Philadelphia 76ers, we're really gonna have to be attentive on defense, like I was saying earlier. We got to be attentive. We've got to be ready to play 20 seconds of defense, 22 seconds of defense if you have to, because I think they're gonna move the basketball until they get a good shot. If their best shot is quick, or comes early in the shot clock, they're gonna take it. But we're gonna have to be attentive. We're gonna be ready. We can't let guys cut back door. I'm afraid of that. We obviously can't let the 3 ball get open. Listen. We say guys like Jeff Green can't beat us and this and that. They got a whole bunch of those tonight.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey,
a whole bunch of those guys.
Quick,
so
have we did we beat them anytime last year or the year before last?
No, it's been a while.
So we're on like a an 8-game plus losing streak against them, right?
Well, the last game that we played against them, we lost 109 to 89. And then last season, February 27, 2020, we lost 115 to 106. The season, then in January 2020, we lost 90 to 87. November 2019, we lost 101 to 95.
I was at that game.
November,
I think I was at that game.
20th, 2019, we lost 109 to 104. So
we haven't beat them in a while.
We haven't beat these guys in a while.
Yeah,
but they don't have Embiid tonight, so there you go.
What'd you say?
Oh, I said they don't have Embiid, so you never know.
Yeah, I was at both of those games at the Wells Fargo Center where they blew us out that one game. They still have Redick and all of them, and then last year we were beating them the whole game up until like the last few minutes of the fourth quarter, and they just beat us.
Yeah, man. Listen, my matchup to look out for, eventually these two guys are going to guard each other, is Tobias Harris and Julius Randle. Tobias Harris, he's averaging 20 points per game, 7.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists. He's shooting 51.7% from the field. He's shooting 40% from 3. He is balling. He is earning that contract they gave him. He is earning that contract this year.
Finally.
He is balling. He's playing good basketball, man. So the Knicks are going to have to pay attention to this guy. Excuse me. And what he's doing. And let me tell you, Tobias Harris is 28 years old. He's just reaching the peak of his skills, man. He's just reaching the peak of his game. We're going to have to watch out for him. Whoever's guarding him, which could be Reggie Bullock, might be Reggie Bullock, going to have to be on point. Don't let that guy take over the game tonight. And I want to see Tobias Harris drop 30. Tobias Harris drops 30. If he drops 30 points tonight, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough to win if he's dropping 30 tonight. We at least got to keep him to his average, I think. Then of course, Ben Simmons, he's gonna want to distribute the basketball. If we can try to make him a scorer instead of a distributor, that's gonna benefit us.
Do you see Bullock on him?
No, I see Bullock on Tobias Harris. I see Julius Randle on Ben Simmons.
Okay.
Really?
That's what I think.
Had it reversed. Okay. All right.
No, okay. I think that because Tobias Harris can shoot the ball from 3, he's going to run off screens. He does those type of things. You know why Julius Randle chasing him around?
Bullock's got length.
And Bullock's is good at chasing guys around. Ben Simmons, he's not going to shoot the 3. If he's going to score, he's going to dribble past you and go to the basket. And I think Julius Randle can stay in front of him.
He's going to be in the post.
And if he tries to post up Julius Randle, I think Julius Randle can, defend him in the post as well.
This is going to be This is going to be an RJ game because Ben Simmons is an all-world defender, man, and he is going to give fits to Randle.
Now that's where you have to look who's going to guard who on the other side, right? Who does Philadelphia?
I would put Simmons on Randle all day on defense.
And they might.
You mean?
But here's the thing: do they want Ben Simmons possibly getting in foul trouble? Because if he's guarding Julius Randle, Julius Randle's down in the post, he's probably going to pick up some fouls. Do they want him getting in foul trouble? But do they want Tobias Harris getting in foul trouble? So it's either going to be Ben Simmons or Tobias Harris guarding Julius Randle.
Simmons is a smart defender. I don't know if he'll get in foul trouble.
He is. I would think that maybe, I don't know. That's a good one.
I mean, if you're a coach and you've got a guy like Randle, you're putting your best defender on Randle because if you shut down that dude and you have to rely on RJ Barrett, who is herky-jerky in a lot of games, I mean, you're pretty much shutting down the Knicks.
That's a good point. That's what
I would do if I was on defense.
and listen, he's 6'10", Ben Simmons 6'10", so he probably will guard Julius Randle. Or let me see, Tony Bradley. How tall is Tony Bradley?
He's telling Bradley about 7 foot.
Is he?
Yeah, man. That's my man out of North Carolina when I'm a Tar Heel fan. He played with the Tar Heels, man.
Bradley's 7 foot.
He's a 7 foot dude, closely 6'11", 6'11" to 7, close something like that. Yeah, He's a pretty tall guy.
Okay. No, because what I was gonna say is, and they could still do it. They could take Tony Bradley and put Tony Bradley on Julius Randle. Right? And then depending on, I don't know much about Tony Bradley, so I don't know if he would be able to go out on the perimeter. I don't know what kind of defender he is. But you could possibly take Tony Bradley and put him on Julius Randle, put Ben Simmons on Nerlens Noel. That saves a little bit of, foul trouble. And then when you get down the stretch of the game, put Ben Simmons on Julius Randle. Right? After you've saved, you kept him out of foul trouble all night. He didn't have to have Julius Randle banging him in the chest all night long. Now in the fourth quarter, when the game is tight, you put Ben Simmons on Julius Randle or RJ Barrett, whichever one maybe is hot. Maybe they do something like that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. And they might just go straight out and put Ben Simmons on Julius Randle. Either way, I could see it happening either way, depending on what Bradley can do. I just don't know too much about Bradley.
Nah, he's pretty much one of them old school, tall, lanky young guys. He don't really have no major game. He's
a big
not
dude, right?
offensively skilled. He's just tall. And he got a little jump hook maybe down in the paint a little bit, but I don't think it's nothing the Knicks even need to worry about. I think Noel are going to handle him well. Noel need a bounce back game anyway, but so I think he'd be fine from that standpoint.
Yeah. So I see some people saying in the chat that Randle is too strong for Simmons. Kyrie 420 said Randle is too strong for Simmons.
I don't know. Simmons is pretty dang strong himself.
If Randle is too strong for Simmons, so then I'm guessing then you're going to put, if it's not Tony Bradley that you put on Julius Randle, then it's going to be Tobias Harris. I mean, he might be too strong for Tobias Harris too.
He'll push Tobias Harris left and right.
Right, so I don't know. It's going to be, without Joel Embiid being there, it's going to be interesting to see what the match is. I don't remember who guarded who last time they played. I know I do believe Julius Randle guarded Ben Simmons, but I'm not sure who guarded Julius Randle on the opposite side. So we'll see how that goes. JD, what's popping with you, bro?
Going on?
My bad. Unmute yourself one more time.
What's going on, fellas?
I'm good, man. How you feeling, man? What's your thoughts on tonight's game, man?
Well, I guess piggybacking off your guys' conversation, I mean, I don't. The only way I see Simmons guarding Randle if Randle's going like absolutely off, and they make that adjustment. I think they'll put Tobias on him, and although it's a weight mismatch, and it looks like a mismatch, but look at yesterday's game. You had James Harden guarding Randle. And, when you analyze a matchup, it doesn't mean that it's going to be a one-on-one matchup. So, in other words, even if Tobias defends Randle, it doesn't mean that the Sixers will just let Randle do whatever he wants. They'll double team. They'll sag a defender and have a defender kind of watch Randle so that Randle doesn't get those lanes to the basket, kind of similar to what the Nets did yesterday. And I think I mean, we'll see. Obviously, we don't know, but from how I see it and how they've been playing recently, I think they'll put Simmons on RJ. And, it's okay if RJ has a tough game. I would want RJ to have a great game, but we're talking about a premier defender, the potential defensive player of the year candidate. So RJ's not the only one that has trouble with Simmons. Many people do. I mean, Simmons is one of the few 2 or 3 players that you can match up against a LeBron James because of size and strength.
So why wouldn't you want to shut him down early instead of waiting for him to get off?
You mean shut down who? Randle?
Randle, yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't disagree. I just think the way the NBA works in terms of the matchups, they just wouldn't do that. They'll just put Tobias. And like, you said, you put Simmons on Randle, you run the risk a little bit of early foul trouble. And with Embiid out, is that what you really want? Right. And do you also want Simmons to get beat up in the paint when now he has to facilitate the offense with no Embiid? He has more responsibility on offense. With RJ's, kind of somewhat limitations, he's working to get better. The Sixers probably see that as a favorable matchup, and they know with the way RJ has played recently, you want to at least kind of shut that down, and then the team could play team defense on Randle. I mean, Reggie Bullock has made 9 threes in the last 2 games, and I think he'll be a key to tonight just because of our injuries, and because of the matchup with Simmons and RJ. We're going to need the Burks and the Bullocks of the world to continue their recent play. Especially Reggie Bullock. If Reggie Bullock didn't knock down those threes yesterday, we'd be talking about a totally different game. A lot of people forget that. Reggie Bullock hit a lot of timely threes in the first half that at least, even though we were down multiple digits, that could have been a 30-point game, which would have completely zapped our ability to believe that we could get back into that game. So I think Reggie Bullock is a key because I'm anticipating that RJ could potentially have a tough night. And he could still score 20 points, but I don't know how efficient he'll be because of Simmons' defensive ability. So I think tonight's game comes down to the role players and to Randle continuing to be, that all-star player that he has been for us.
Yeah, I could see them, and I seen somebody say it in the chat, I could see them, instead of starting Tony Bradley, start Dwight Howard and let Dwight Howard guard Julius Randle. And then, because you can take with Nerlens Noel, you can put Ben Simmons on Nerlens Noel, and you don't have to worry about a whole heck of a lot. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then you can let Danny Green and Tobias Harris take care of RJ Barrett and Reggie Bullock, and Seth Curry take care of Emmanuel Quickley or something.
Sim, also, I've seen a lot of people comment on how we should defend Simmons. I don't know that I'm in the minority, but I've never bought into sagging off those type of players. I've never bought into that because I think that's the easy way to analyze and say, well, just sag off Simmons for the rest of the night. But when you look at Rondo, when Rondo was in Boston, a lot of people played in that way, and Rondo still was able to do whatever he wanted. Because I'm on the mindset of, right, when you have a player like Simmons, like Rondo, and you completely sag off for the duration of the game, you're allowing them to survey the field, survey the court. And when you're talking about a player that his biggest asset is distributing the ball, mm-hmm. You don't think Seth Curry's going to get easy passes, nice passes, just because we're sagging off him and Simmons is able to survey the court and is able to make easy passes? I mean, we're not disrupting his eye vision. We're not disrupting anything. So I would play him what they call is moderate version, where you're on him, but you're behind enough to where you're not pressuring him, where he can just get by you and then make damage to the basket.
Yeah.
I wouldn't completely sag off him.
I think that's still kind of sagging off. I think that the way you see Julius Randle do to Giannis, I think that's what you'll probably see what happened with Ben Simmons until he, proves that he's going to shoot it a little bit. I do think that you kind of allow, you let him maybe get into, have vision of the court. But that's where our off-ball defenders got to be able to be on, because he can't make Seth Curry get open. That's Seth Curry who's got to come off the screens. Seth Curry's got to, relocate to get open. So it's up to those guys to get open. And I feel like when you sag off a little bit, you get yourself inside of those lanes, to kind of stop people from cutting through the lanes, slashing to the basket, and those type of things, when you play more in that passing lane. I think it kind of allows you to be able to do that. You're going to do it every single possession? No, because some possessions he's going to come at you. And when you sag off, you give him, if you're doing it every single possession, you're going to give him a chance to gain momentum to come at you, right? And then once he gains that momentum, it's hard to stop him once he gains that momentum coming at you. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think, I think you're right. You don't do it every single possession. You know what I'm saying? Some possessions you're going to do it. Sometimes when you notice he's getting ready to try to come at you, you're going to guard up tight on him. The thing is that what's hard is even if you guard up tight with Julius Randle, he's 6'10", Julius Randle 6'8", he still has a good vision of the court, I think.
Right, and I mean, because that strategy is actually more effective with a Giannis, because Giannis has a mentality to get to the basket to score. You can play Simmons that way, and it doesn't bother him. He doesn't care. Simmons can have a full game where he doesn't score, and he can still impact the game. Whereas a Giannis, you play him that way, he may start to force the issue because his mindset is, I have to score to impact the game as well as distribute. Simmons and Randle type of players, they're not worrying. Scoring is not the first thing on their mind. So even when you play that type of defense, it's not going to bother them internally. They still will take what you're giving them. So I agree with you. It has to be balanced.
Yeah. And I think what you have to do is you everybody else got to play great defense. So if Ben Simmons has the ball, you really got to try not to let these other guys get off and then make Ben Simmons say, oh, I got to try to score, right? Because I can't get the ball to anybody else. So that's going to be, and I think with this team, if Ben Simmons is a scorer, then you got him where you want him to be, right? If you're forcing Ben Simmons to have to score the basketball, that's exactly where, that's exactly where you want it.
So, Sim, would you take the ball out of Ben Simmons' hands?
If I was who?
If you're the Knicks, would you try to maybe trap him or try to take the ball out of his hands and put it into somebody else's?
I don't think I would do that right from the beginning, because if you're trapping him, now you're leaving a three-point shooter open, and they got a few of them. So I wouldn't try trapping him right off top, because the reason why you trap a Damian Lillard and them guys is because they shoot from so deep. So you trap it to get the ball out of their hand, because you don't want them pulling up from 40 feet or whatever they pulling up from, 30 feet or whatever. He's not pulling up from 30 feet. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think you have to do that with Ben Simmons. It's gonna be interesting. Take everything that you heard here, ladies and gentlemen, and think about it for tonight's game, because all of these things could come into play at some point or another. You probably don't get no better analysis than you get here on NBK, for real. Not even on MSG, not on ESPN.
Oh,
you know why?
MSG.
Because we are Knicks fans and we follow the New York Knicks, so we know everything that's happening.
We know more than Wally does.
You know what I mean? We know everything that's going on.
I love the way Randle, his post-game interview. I know many of us we were expecting fireworks, potentially comments that would get him fined. But I actually love the way that he just was on to the next game. And it's so simple, but it means so much in terms of, we've talked about how he's improved as a leader. And so him distributing, exhibiting that behavior, that leadership is a good message for the team. Because he understands, that tells me this is a player that understands the moment. He understands the situation. We had a game the next day, which is today. And at the end of the day, you really do need to just put it past you and get ready for today, because today is an important game. We play this team 2 of the next 3 games. And we already lost against Orlando, which is our next game. So I'm not even putting that game as a easy win. There's no more easy wins in my estimation in the second half. Even if we have a team on the schedule that looks like a very, very winnable game, when you're a 500 team and with the stuff that we've been dealing with, you know, day-to-day injuries and stuff like that, you just don't know. And also some of the, you know, performances we've been getting where you don't know what Alec Burks you're going to get. You know, Bullock is hot right now. Hopefully he continues it, but he could get cold tonight. So I was very impressed with how Randle was able to have that moment on the court and then a few minutes later able to readjust his mindset and mentally prepare for today.
I agree. Yeah. That cooler head prevailed. Yeah, absolutely. And they just confirmed, the NBA just confirmed that was a travel.
Yeah, it's the right call. It was the right call.
The right call.
They just confirmed that it was a travel. See, they always do that. They come out with this whatever report.
Well, they're not going to admit they're wrong. Like, oh, we screwed up. We're bad, you know.
Sim, do you think tonight's a must-win? I asked you that for, what was it? The OKC game, you said it was. And, you know, thankfully we won.
Must-win.
It's today. But, I mean, we can say every game is a must-win, but, you know, it's today like a must.
I think it is.
It's not a must. For me, it's not a must-win like OKC was. And here's why. Because we had the expectation that we could lose to Brooklyn and that we could lose to Milwaukee and that we could lose to Philadelphia, right? If we would have lost to OKC,
that'd have been a problem.
And then we lose to Philly, and then we lose to Brooklyn, and then we lose to Philadelphia. That puts us on a 4-game skid, right? And now we're 3 games below 500. By beating OKC, if we lose to Philadelphia tonight, we're 20-21 instead of being 19-22. Because we lost all 4. That's why I thought that OKC was so important. And then after tonight's game, if we do lose tonight, then tomorrow or whenever we play again, we play Orlando, a team that we can beat. You know what I'm saying? Then we go back and play Philadelphia.
It'll be a good barometer for us as going into second part of the season, getting a good win. You know, if we can get a good win. I mean, we competed against the Nets, even though I thought we were going to get our butts blown out. I mean, if we compete or beat the Sixers, I mean, that's a good win. I mean, that's a playoff team right there. Yeah. I mean, I know they don't have Embiid, but that's still a playoff team.
Hey, you know what? The reason why I don't think it's a must win. Let's say if we do lose tonight, we do go home for 3 games with maybe other players coming back. You know what I mean? Possible other players coming back. Right. Maybe your Paytons, maybe Derrick Rose might finally come at the home cooking and play. You know what I mean? I don't know how long COVID protocol is, but he should be close by now. You know what I mean? Much as I hope we go down there and win tonight, but we don't. I don't think that it's gonna, you know, say, oh man, I think we will beat Orlando at the Garden. I think
the reason why I think it's a must-win game is just for their psyche, just to show that they can beat them. And again, I know Embiid's not playing, but you still want to put it in their mind like, hey, we can't, if we happen to meet these guys in the playoffs, we cannot take them lightly. You know, this is Philly's, thank you.
But without having Embiid, I think it takes a little bit away from calling it a must-win because they're missing a big part of their team.
And we're missing key pop.
But I mean, none of them match Embiid. Yeah,
we're missing.
So wait, Nathan, you saying it's not a must-win because they're missing Embiid?
No, I'm saying it's not.
Wouldn't that make it more of a must-win?
No, I would think without Embiid, you would. I don't think it's a season must-win, but I'm saying
team. This team is very talented. This team is going to be probably in the Eastern Conference Finals, more likely. I mean, I think it's a good barometer for us for a quality win, in this second part of the season, but it's not a must win. I mean, I don't think a lot of people expect us to win tonight because they still are talented. They still have Ben Simmons. They still have players that can play, and they're well coached by Doc Rivers. They're going to be there at the end. So, I mean, they're just missing a big part of their team. But I mean, like right now we are.
And because they're missing that for us, because they're missing that big part, that's why I say it's a must-win for us. With both games with Philly, I think it's a must-win for us.
It's more winnable. I would say that
it's more winnable. It's still tough. But I just feel like as far as the impact on the season, it's not as important as that OKC game was.
Right. Plus, OKC was undermanned. We had to win that one.
Let's put it like this: if we lose tonight, Orlando becomes a little bit more of a must-win.
Exactly.
Yeah,
because that's a team that, looking at us right now, you should say, okay, we really need to beat these guys. So now we beat these guys, we get back to 500 because now we got to go play Philadelphia again.
Well, here's my thing. Here's my thing, and mainly for JD. Here's my thing. In order for us to not play in the play-in game towards the end of the playoffs, you want to remain 500 and up. I think if we're below 500 throughout the course of the second half, like 2 games or so, we're going to be at that, play-in. So I would rather go in as for the play-in. What's that? seventh or eighth?
If we have to be above 500.
You got to be the 6th seed.
You have to be the 6th seed. Right now, it's the Hornets. The Hornets are 20 and 18.
Right. So if we want to get in as a non-play-in, I think we have to be, above 500, and it starts. That's why I say, for me, that every game is a must-win for us.
Oh yeah, especially if you're looking at it that way.
If you're looking at it that way, yeah.
You're right. Our season is not defined if we don't lose tonight.
And
our season is not defined if we lose on, to Orlando.
You just don't want to have those losing skids. That's what Sim's trying to say. Right. You don't want to lose 4 to 5 games, then you really put yourself behind the 8 ball.
I do agree on must win the loss, but the reason why I don't think this is my opinion, like we all say, it's all our opinions, what we think, is because we do play them again in the Garden in the next couple of games. So if we lose to them tonight, we do got a chance to get back at them and get a revenge game back at them in a couple of days. And if we lose tonight, we go into 500. I think we go home and beat Orlando, put us back at 500. We there. And we got to remember, we're going to lose games like this because we are depleted.
Yes.
We are depleted.
And there's more talented teams.
You know what? You got to play. Right. Yeah.
They are a talented team, but so was the Nets last night. But we came and showed up. So, I mean, I think next man up is a true myth. And next man up. And I think last night was a prime example. We were depleted. We still almost beat them dudes. That's why I'm not putting it at a must win right now. Next week and maybe going into next week, if we start losing like that, then I'll be nervous because it's getting closer to the end of the season. But I think we got enough time to lose a game and make it up in the next couple of games or something like that. So that's my logic with the must win. I would love to get that win tonight, and I actually believe we might go in there and win it. You know what I mean? If we don't, like Sim said, if we don't have a letdown because of last night. If we don't have a letdown because of last night, I give us a good shot against them, just like I give us a good shot against Brooklyn.
Does the season end mid-April? Does the season end
mid-April? Something like that. Or end of April, May, early May, I think.
Yeah.
I think it ends early May.
So, that's
the games. I think I don't know if that it's a must win, but it's an important game.
Yes,
because we play the Sixers twice, right? And then after we play the Sixers the second time after Orlando, we're going to play the Wizards in back-to-back games. And I'm always of the mindset that when you play a team either back-to-back or the way we're playing the Sixers 2 of the next 3, I always want to get that first game against them because it puts a lot of pressure on you to win the second one if you lose the first. And so if we can get this game, it looks like Rose is very close. According to Mark Berman, it looks like he's very close to returning, which means he could return this week, any game now. And so hopefully we win this game. Then we have a very, very winnable game in Orlando. Now we can start a run because we play the Wizards back-to-back, and the Wizards, although they had a little hot stretch, they've gone back down to being terrible. They're on a 4-game losing streak, and they've lost 6 of their last 7 games.
Trade for Beal.
So now, and that's another conversation, Sid, but I was reading today in Washington, now they're back on that should they trade Beal conversation. So we'll see what happens.
Who's on that?
No, I was reading on like Washington Wizards beat writers. Like now they're questioning that thought now. Should the Wizards franchise trade him? Because it's like, they went on that little run and it's like, no, they're not going to trade him. But now they've lost 6 out of the last 7 leading into the deadline. And then you start to really see what the team really is. So as an organization, now you have to make the decision of, if this is what we're going to be, we're stuck with Westbrook. What can we really get out of this Beal experience? You know, how are we going to improve the team? So we might as well try to trade him.
Let me ask you guys this, and I'm gonna start with Kev. We seen, you know, a little article come out today that the Knicks were one of the teams that inquired about Miles Turner.
One of 5 teams, yep.
One of 5 teams that inquired about Miles Turner. Now, you know, Miles Turner plays the same position as one of the Cornerstone Kev kids.
Mm-hmm. What does that
Talk to me, Kev.
Before you finish, I want to say there's something going on here with that, because we keep it's Andre Drummond, is Kyle O'Quinn, is Miles Turner, and we over here keep analyzing like, hey, we have Mitch. They don't
At some
believe point, in Mitch, there's some smoke, there's fire. And I'm starting to see, like, maybe they don't view Mitch the way that we view it. And that's why we keep seeing these center inquiries, because it's being reported, like the Drummond one was being reported by Shams. This is not like some outside reporter. So if we keep getting these reports, it looks like they're looking at it differently on how to construct the team than we are. I don't know what's going on with this Mitch stuff.
I think it's just my opinion now that Tom Thibodeau likes centers that, I don't want to say a little more traditional, because I don't want to say Miles Turner is more traditional, but he can set screens. Obviously, he can play defense. He can set screens. He can still block shots, and he can shoot it from the outside.
Yeah,
he can shoot the mid range. He can go off the dribble a little bit. I think that's more attractive.
Also, too, I would add.
Kev, why you? Hold on, let me get the Kev. Because, you know, Mitch is one of the Cornerstone Kev kids, man. You know, the KKK kids, the triple K kids. I don't want to say KKK kids. I'll say the triple K kids. All right. What would you do? Would you move Mitchell Robinson for Miles Turner, Kev?
Oh, God.
If Kev was our GM, there would never be a move ever made.
No, there would never be a move.
That's not true, JT.
There would never be a move.
There
would never be a move.
He would sell the fan base building within.
Hey, JD.
Because he would be so emotionally attached to the players.
He would get the call, and they say, Kev, we will give you SGA, you give us Theo Pinson. No, man, Theo Pinson he's a cornerstone in the locker room. He is a cornerstone in the locker room. We can't move Theo Pinson, man.
Sim, you are not right. You are not a right man.
How are we gonna have a cheerleader like him? We can't replace that.
You're not right. Sim, you are not.
Is SGA gonna jump along the sideline? No.
Hey, Kev,
we need that.
You passionate, but the GM, I think we might give Frank the max.
Be starting forever.
I can see it. I like Theo Pinson, man. He might be the best cheerleader in the league one day. He's gonna be the MVP of cheerleaders. Right. Come on now. We're just gonna give up on him.
If Kev was a GM, we would see some lopsided starting lineups, courtesy of Kevin Cornerstone.
Frank would be the
coach.
Oh my God! Oh my God! I can't see the chat right now, but I can tell they just go ballistic. All right.
Hey,
would I do it? No, I wouldn't, man. I believe in Mitch. I believe in Mitch, man. I believe in Mitch.
Miles Turner is better than Mitch
right now.
Right now, because he can. Sam, this is a bad predicament that you're putting me in, because I am a Mitch fan. I'm a RJ fan.
How old is Mitch? You guys, you both said right now. How old is Mitch?
21, right?
22. 22. I think he's 22.
Miles like what? Miles 24. Like 24, right?
He's 24. It's 2 years. It's not like he's 30. It's not like he's 28. It's not like he's 26. It's 24.
Miles takes a lot of bad shots too.
And guess what? We love Mitchell Robinson's shot blocking prowess. Miles Turner is a better shot blocker. So
way better shot.
Okay, what are the numbers on that? What is the numbers on the league? Actually, He's leading
He
the
leads
league.
the- He
Yeah,
leads
he's
the
got
league.
about 3 blocks a game, I think.
I just don't want to give up on him, man.
Ah,
All you
wanna give up.
have to do is look at the games we played and we couldn't get nothing in the paint.
nothing in the paint, man.
Yeah, and that might have to do with Mitch's upcoming contract too, though. Knicks might not want to give Mitch that money.
That's what I was about to say. I think it's
They might
more
not
about
wanna
the
give Mitch that
contract. They
money.
don't want to pay him. They don't want to. They know he's going to
What's he
demand a
gonna
lot of
ask
money,
for? Because
and they don't want to pay
you
him.
know,
And guess what? And guess what, Kev? Mitch about to be 23 in 2 weeks. Now I don't know when Miles Turner. I don't know when he turns.
oh boy, I don't want to. I don't want to give. I don't want to give up on the diamond in the rough.
And you know what? And it also might be they might give up Noel and keep
Okay.
Mitch. You never know. You know what I mean? It's
That's true. And Miles Turner turns 25 in a week. So
If you trade for Miles
Still a
Turner,
little older.
Mitch is no longer in your future plans. That's the way
I
look at
agree.
it.
I agree. If you trade for Miles Turner, Mitch is gone.
Mitch is going. Huh?
I think so.
And you're sending an ugly
$1.5
message right now. You're sending an ugly message to Mitch right now by all these trade rumors for centers.
Well, the thing is, but it's not coming from the Knicks, right? However, it gets out, that the Knicks inquired.
Sure.
The Knicks are one of 3 teams or 5 teams, one of 5 teams that inquired about Miles Turner and his availability. It's not even, we don't even know if Indiana is looking to move him. If I'm Indiana, I wouldn't look to move him, but they
Right.
inquired about him. So
But just like JD said, when there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah,
So if we're
I
looking
know.
at him,
don't
looking at,
Andre
Andre.
got a contract coming up. He
Miles
expiring too.
Miles Turner makes $18 million this year, $18 million next year, and then in 2023 he makes $18 million. So he's on the books for 3 more seasons at $18 million.
Okay, yeah. Well,
What's his average points per game?
Average 13 points a game, about 7 rebounds.
That's better. Yeah, that's better than Mitch.
And 3 blocks.
that's $17 million more though. Mitch get $1.5 million. I gotta keep that into everybody head. Mitch only get paid $1.5 million for 2 more years.
If you
That is true.
guys had to choose the same contract, same years, whatever that would be, Drummond or Turner, who would you guys go after?
I'd go
Turner.
Oh, I'd go after Turner.
Younger.
I'd go after Turner.
Yeah.
I feel like he fits what we do better. Being a shot blocker. He's not a better rebounder, but he's a shot blocker.
That's what I was exactly about to ask.
He can still post up. More disciplined player, I think.
I worry about those threes, man. He takes a lot of threes, and he's a bad shooter at 3-pointer.
Yeah,
But I tell you what though, he stretched
Yeah,
the
but
floor.
he makes a timely shot.
He stretched
He
the
makes a
floor.
timely shot.
If you go out there and take them
he
threes,
shoots it at 31% this season so
But
far.
every time and when it's a 3-pointer that he has to make, especially against us, he'll make it.
I don't want him to shoot 3-pointers. He can go at the paint the whole
and
time.
let me ask you a question: with him out there, with him able to stretch that floor, that just opened the lane for RJ Barrett and Julius Randle. If he can stretch that big man out there, he can't do it every 8 times a game, obviously.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. If you have a Miles Turner out there on the floor, now you got RJ, you got Julius, you got Miles, and you got Reggie Bullock, all who can knock down the 3. Are capable of knocking down the 3, where Nerlens Noel, Mitchell Robinson, they're not going to shoot it. They're not even going to shoot it. All of those guys are capable 3-point shooters. That's going to make a difference in the way that you play basketball. Now, I don't think Indiana.
We've been through this a lot.
I don't think Indiana's even looking to move him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At all. I don't think he's looking to move him. They're looking to move him at all. It's just,
I don't know, Sim. Indiana might be in the selling mode rather than the buying mode.
Yeah, because they were talking about him going to the Boston Celtics. They had him going to the Celtics one time with my man named Gordon Hayward.
Yeah.
He was, I think that it was something within that realm. Boston wanted him to do a sign and trade and give him Miles Turner, because that's what Boston needed. So I don't know how that took place, but
Indiana needs to add some pieces to be more competitive. I think that they might be willing to move him because of the contract too.
But
it's not a
let me
bad
ask this.
contract. I don't know if he's living up. Listen, he's averaging 13.5, 7 rebounds, and 3.5 blocks or whatever it is. Julius Randle with the same contract is averaging something different, but
But let me ask this. We've been through this a lot. I haven't heard JD's take. Why is it that Mitch doesn't take shots?
You don't want to.
I don't think he's confident in his. I mean, we've seen the off-season videos. He was working on it, but we've seen Ben Simmons videos in the offseason where he's draining shots. We've seen Frank in the offseason draining shots. And a lot of times when those videos surf the internet and social media, we get caught up in that and we think that, we're going to get a new player. We saw it with Dennis Smith Jr. as well, where he was a few years ago, he was working on his form. And it's just a different environment. When you're in an environment by yourself in the gym with your trainer and you're in a comfort zone, you experiment more outside of what you would do in an NBA game. And then once you get back into that structured environment of the team, and then you're in a system where they're not really looking at that as a strength of yours. Once you go into the game, and there's a few games where you don't exhibit, you don't display what you've worked on, it kind of just goes away. And then confidence goes away. And then once it's, there's 4 or 5 games and you haven't taken a jump shot, although you worked on it all off season, you just go with the flow. And then next thing you know, 10 games go by, you haven't done anything.
I don't think he wants to shoot. I don't know.
I think he's really devaluing himself because he doesn't take those shots. I agree. If you make the attempts, I mean, at least that shows us that, that you are trying to do it. It's really devaluing himself. He's doing himself a disservice.
And you know why that happens a lot? How many times do you see on a game where you see a certain player do something on the court that you as a fan get upset and you look at the TV and you're like, why did you do that? Sometimes we do that with Noel. When Noel will take a jump shot, you're like, why you took that jump shot? He wasn't afraid to. He was open. Right. So Mitch has the freedom to do it. You think Tibbs really loves quickly taking shots from the concession stands, from the 30-foot three-pointers? I don't think Tibbs grew up on that, but he lives with it.
But he lives with it because it's part of his game, so he lives with it. And just like you said with Nerlens Noel, every once in a while he'll pull a mid-range jump shot if it's open to him, and you take that. You know what I mean? Mitch, I think it's confidence as well. I do. I know people.
I just don't think he wants to shoot. I mean, Simmons the same way. Well. Simmons don't want to shoot either.
Then he shouldn't be posting those videos. And if he really, that's
just with him and his boys. That's just him just having fun.
He was averaging, and even though it's
he gives us,
he was averaging 28%, but
but he gives us false hope. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's a kid, man. He's a kid. He's gonna post videos, bro. He's a kid.
Gives us false hope. But no, what I'm saying is, if he's doing it as a fan, you're like, oh, he's taking, he's taking jump shots. Oh, we'll get to see that this year coming up, and it never happens.
Hey, Kev, I'm a grown man, but go subscribe to my video though.
He don't
big shout out to Paul Sams. He said this is a little bit off topic. Yeah. But you said you didn't know much about Doris Burke's basketball background. She's one of the best female college hoopers ever. Yep, and it shows in her analysis of the basketball game. She's really good. She's really good. I really enjoy listening to her when she's on ESPN.
Hey, you don't put her with Mike Breen if she's not good. I was going to say that right now. Mike Breen's one of the best.
Yeah, she is.
I like her better than Clyde.
Oh boy, here we go. You know what? We are going to head out of here, ladies and gentlemen. They don't know how to.
I love.
That's not what he was talking about. That's not what he was talking about. They don't know how to behave. You know what I'm saying? People don't know how to behave.
No, I'm talking about when Clyde be critical.
Now he's stuttering.
What
his wife is probably watching the show, so now he's stuttering. Now he's scared.
I'd rather have an honest commentator than a yes commentator. I love Clyde.
Okay, all right, Sim. You know what? I'd rather have Wally than Clyde.
Oh, Wally sucks.
What? Wally? You would rather have Wally than Clyde? Are you serious?
Get
out of here.
And God rest his soul, I miss John Andres. Some of y'all probably
John Andrews. I like John Andrews, but Wally over Clyde,
man. You know who got me hype? Gus Johnson. Gus Johnson.
Yeah,
he was good.
Gus was good.
Yeah, Gus Johnson was good.
But you gotta have somebody really low key with Gus Johnson because he is such a fiery dude.
Yeah.
Guys, I am going to head up out of here. I appreciate you guys. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back on tonight.
The game starts at
the game starts at 8:00 tonight. The game starts at 8:00, so make sure you got your TV dialed in, tuned in. Knicks vs 76ers tonight.
Yep.
All right. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to that channel. Ring that notification bell, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So you'll be notified anytime I go live. As soon as we get to 15,000 subscribers, we got 2 Obi Toppin rookie cards to give away. Obi Toppin is not making those rookie cards a hot topic. He's not making them a hot commodity. You know what I'm saying? But I got them here. Anyway,
Like the DVD section.
let me get you guys' last words and predictions for tonight. Devon, go ahead, man.
Hopefully we have a good bounce back game. I hope we play the same game that we played last night. Like I said earlier, man, to kind of make our defense come to the forefront in that first half instead of giving us 67 like last night. Hopefully we can play a better defense game in the first half. If we just get the good offense flow going, man, I think we got a good chance to win the game tonight. So I'm going to go out on a limb like every night. I think the Knicks going to
Always Divine, always going with
82-0, bro. 82-0. You know, I don't bet on nobody to lose, man. I'm not a losing type mentality for me. I know it's not reality, but I pick the Knicks to win every night with this team we got, and I believe we got a chance to win tonight. So I'm going to predict us to win tonight.
All right.
You guys win the chip too?
Say that again.
You got us winning the chip too?
If we get close enough.
Kev?
Yeah, I agree totally with Divine. I think we'll put out a really good effort tonight, and I think we'll win the game. And I think we'll win by double digits. I think.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think we'll.
That'd be nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Nate? Go ahead, Nate.
Oh man, I'm gonna rain on everybody's parade, but yeah, we ain't winning tonight. Sorry, guys.
All right.
We're outmanned too much.
And JD?
I'm gonna go with the win. 105-99. Sixers play tomorrow.